This was a direct intervention by Mr. Netanyahu in American politics.
The Prime Minister of Israel, His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu.
The introduction was from the Republican Speaker John Boehner, who invited Israel's Prime Minister without telling President Obama first. Mr. Netanyahu wants the US Congress to do all it can to block the deal that's being negotiated with Iran.
This is a bad deal. It's a very bad deal. We're better off without it. This deal won't be a farewell to arms. It would be a farewell to arms control. And the Middle East would soon be crisscrossed by nuclear tripwires. A region where small skirmishes can trigger big wars would turn into a nuclear tinderbox.
Throughout the speech, he had plenty of applause, but more than 50 Democrats boycotted the event, protesting that he was grandstanding ahead of Israeli elections in 2 weeks. The Democratic leader, Nancy Pelosi, said the speech insulted the intelligence of Americans and the administration's analysis of the threat from Iran. On the banks of Lake Geneva in Switzerland, John Kerry, the US Secretary of State, with the world's big powers, is at a critical stage in the talks with Iran. The formula is for the Iranians to accept at least 10 years of limits on their nuclear program, along with intrusive inspections. In return, sanctions would be lifted. Back here in Washington, President Obama said the deal they're discussing was the best option available.
But when it comes to this nuclear deal, let's wait until there's actually a deal on the table that Iran has agreed to, at which point everybody can evaluate it. We don't have to speculate. And what I can guarantee is that if it's a deal I've signed off on, I will be able to prove that it is the best way for us to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon.
The speech was classic Netanyahu, a somewhat contradictory mix of the politics of fear and expressions of Israel's strength and resolve. There is no doubt that Mr. Netanyahu sees the threat from Iran as real, and his skillful rhetoric will connect with many Americans. If there is to be a deal, President Obama will have to deploy his own considerable way with words to sell it to his people. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Washington.